Because most of the time people are like this. Everybody really does want to be loved. Everybody really does want to be held. Everybody really does want to have a connection. But oh my God, how do I do it?
Did you push record?
Thanks so much for joining us today on Our Second Act with Paige and Silka.
For your second act of life. How you doing, Silka?
I'm doing good, Paige. How about you?
Hanging in there.
Good. Well, we're returning our focus today on our relationship series that we do frequently. And those of us who are starting over again or have started over or gone through a horrible divorce, there's this fear of getting hurt again and dropping out of life. We have lots of comments all over our relationship videos on that. Obviously, it makes sense that you wouldn't want to get hurt again. But then you also prevent yourself from experiencing joy again. How do you counsel people on that?
Well, I think we also have to add another population that you don't have to be going through a divorce. You don't have to be starting over again that pace, but you could be starting over again in your relationship or in your marriage. Lots of things could have gone on through the years. There's history that comes up, and you have to begin again. How many times in a relationship do you begin again and again and again and again? It's constant. It's constant. So how do you again, when you're in an already established relationship, trust again as well that this other person won't hurt you, that yes, they say they're going to follow through, but will they really follow through? So let's add that population as well to what you said, Sokol, because I think they're all really important.
Well, that's a great point. That's a great point because and as I did in my first marriage, you just shut yourself down emotionally to putting all your love on the line because you're just going to get hurt again. How do we get somebody past that? There's people listening that yeah, that's, I've been through it and no thank you. I'm not doing this again. All men suck, all women suck. We've gotten, especially on YouTube, that's when you get a lot of the ugly comments. But it's sad because these people have been jaded. And I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to be stuck in that way of thinking.
Well, I think the first thing that each person has to ask themselves when they're in that place is, do you want to stay stuck there for a while? And if their answer is, damn it, yes, I want to stay stuck there for a while, then okay, allow yourself to stay stuck there for a while because there's a lot of emotions that you really need to process through before you can get to a place of, can I trust again? If that's where you are today, that's all right. So first of all, that's my first tip is wherever you are today, ask yourself, is this where you want to be? If you are hell pressed that this is where you want to be today, then that's where you're going to be today. If this continues for months, for years, then then we've got like a defense mechanism. We've got walls, we've got barriers, we've got armor, we have all different kinds of things that we're holding up. And the question again is, do you want to stay stuck in this space again? And most of the time, what I hear from people is, I don't want to be in this place, but I don't know how to get out of this place.
No, that's a really great point. And whenever we have these conversations, I can't help but, of course, relay it to my own life, as we all do, and that's what we want our viewers to
All
do.
of us.
As we have these conversations, you think about your own life, and when I think about my own life, is that what I realized is that by shutting myself off, or from loving again, or not wanting to get hurt again, you're not preventing yourself from ever being hurt. Other circumstances will come into your life, and all you're really doing is missing out on potential joy, and that is hard to realize.
Yeah, and it's hard to realize when you're in the throes of it. Can't see the forest from the trees. But you said something very important as well, that you shut down on everything. And I often, many times ask, okay, if you're so afraid of getting back into a relationship again, let's take a step back and take a look at what pulled you in this particular relationship in the first place. Were there red flags that you've continued to do throughout your life? Are these red flags putting you in a place to be hurt by another person? And what have you not learned and grown from yet? Because you know what? all of us until the day we die here, transition from this world, will continue to have pain, will continue to be hurt in various ways, but it might not be as intense, as severe, as horrible if you figure out what are the flags that I've ignored? What have I avoided? And that's tip number two. If you've been ignoring and avoiding because fear of changing and doing something different, that's something to pay attention to.
That it's absolutely. And again, I'm relating it to what I went through. And it was about, how did I contribute to to this position that I'm in now? Because, we ended up in a relationship where all we did was fight. And there wasn't even a willingness to resolve anymore. It was like, you piss me off, I'll piss you. I mean, it was just a downward spiral. And
Right.
yeah, go ahead.
And for something like that, it was, both of you coming at each other. And there's other relationships where two people don't come at each other and they don't say anything and they totally ignore and they're a complete other direction because they don't want to deal with what's going on. So again, multiple different ways that things show up like this about fear of getting hurt within a relationship.
I know that one thing I can share when I realized that about myself and how I pushed buttons that I knew were going to trigger just out of spite. And when I paid attention to that, I mean, my marriage broke up and it needed to. That was one marriage that, I needed to get out of. Not every marriage can be saved. But in new relationships, when there were similar situations or something that, I could say something here and be, in a conflict, or I could not.
That's right. So getting back to what are the flags that, maybe you've carried through each relationship that you finally say, okay, I don't want this anymore. So what do I have to do over here to have something different? That doesn't mean you're not going to have other things, but it might be different things that you can manage, in a healthier way. So just like what you did is maybe you didn't speak up and maybe it's time to speak up. Maybe you spoke up so much that you have to kind of look at your verbiage, look at your tone, and how you do things. So, getting back to, oh my gosh, I don't want to be hurt again. I don't want to be this again. You don't need to rip the Band-Aid off today. You can, number one, feel, if you're angry, if you don't want to deal with anyone, that's fine. Number two, have you been avoiding or ignoring the flags throughout your life that pulls you into or brings certain people or brings certain situations that you haven't quite learned yet, that the universe is saying, all right, come on, we need to keep learning. So there's a combination of the universe bringing it in and you yourself bringing it in because you're avoiding and denying the flags. And number three, when you decide to go, okay, because most of the time people are like this. Everybody really does want to be loved. Everybody really does want to be held. Everybody really does want to have a connection. But oh my God, how do I do it? Start with something really, really small. You don't have to go full blown dating. Do something little. Get back into life in a little way, even if it means starting with your friends, opening up with your friends about what's gone on in your life. Because my guess is if you're not as intimate in your relationships with your spouse or significant other, you might not share as much with your friends either because as we get older, we get embarrassed and we're afraid to say, oh my God, I've made the same mistake again, and you keep it in and you swallow it down. So another tip is it's okay. You can open up to your friends or go see a therapist or a life coach or a combination to kind of not be so embarrassed, because when we get embarrassed, we hold it in even more and that stops us from moving forward.
I guess what I want to leave viewers with on this segment, based on my own experience, is that self-preservation of not wanting to get hurt does not guarantee that you will. And you're just keeping yourself from living life to the fullest. And as easy as that is to say, it's the saying easier said than done. I try every day to remember that. What would you like to leave our viewers with?
What you said, I think, was crucial that, we can't always protect and preserve ourselves. And when we continually protect and preserve ourselves, we're not really protecting and preserving ourselves. We're hurting ourselves even more. And there will be a breakdown within ourselves, and sadness will become stronger, anger will become stronger, and we won't want to be a participant in life. So you have to decide, do you want to sit on the sidelines and watch life, or do you want to be, out there on the field living life with all that it comes with?
And on that note, Paige, we'll see you next time on Our Second Act with Paige and Silka.
For your second act of life.
Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't had a chance to do so yet, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. Our button's right over here. And if there's some topic that you'd like to see us cover in the future, please visit our website. We have a suggestion box in the upper right-hand corner of the home page. Drop us a line. Let us know what you're thinking. Thanks. See you next time.